Hey, everybody. Welcome to Marketing, Mischief, and Mayhem, the podcast where we talk with CMOs of technology companies to understand what's really happening in the trenches of marketing in B2B tech. My name is Russell Quinnen. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer of Theory SF in San Francisco. We're a brand and performance marketing agency that works with a lot of great technology firms. And we've been having these conversations with our clients and our friends in the industry, and we thought, why don't we open it up so more people can hear what's happening? I'm very happy today with our guest. So happy that she said yes. She's proof that marketers don't just drive pipeline. Sometimes they direct the whole movie. Literally, Mia Charette has been everything from a wedding cinematographer to a blogger for Elite Daily to the mastermind behind a multi-million-dollar higher ed marketing pipeline. She's scaled Wicked Tan. Yes, that's the tanning salon kind. Before most brands even heard of what influencer marketing is, she's built demand gen engines for Final Site, Harmonize, and Niche, where she's turned a $2 million budget into a 3x ROI factory and sourced nearly half the company's pipeline in a single year. And now as VP of Marketing at Capture Higher Ed, she's rewriting the playbook on how to marry brand growth and demand in a sector that doesn't exactly hand out easy wins. Basically, if you need pipeline, she's got it. If you need a brand story, she'll tell it. And if you need your wedding filmed, well, she's done that too. So welcome to the mayhem, Mia.
Thank you so much for having me, Russell. That is quite the intro.
Everybody at least gets a great intro here.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We're going to jump in as we always do, Mia. Let's get started. You moved from demand gen leadership into the VP of Marketing seat. What's been the biggest shift in mindset going from pipeline driver to holistic brand and growth driver?
So I think what's interesting, at least for my career step, is I've spent my entire career in growth startups. Even if you literally look at what I did in high school and college, I was at a small family business. And from there, I went to small tech startup to small tech startup again and again. And with each one of those, the move from just overseeing demand gen to the VPC really doesn't feel that different. So in my mind, a good demand gen strategy isn't just performance marketing. My job as a demand gen marketer isn't just to go to LinkedIn and create ads that create conversions and generate pipeline. Mm-hmm. Most individuals who work in demand gen have such a keen focus on brand and content and aesthetic, or at least the good ones do, right?
Hold on, wait. I have to interrupt you. You just said some words that somehow aren't fitting for me. That people in demand gen are concerned about brand?
They should be. And
that's the first time I'm hearing that, and it's music to my ears, but I haven't heard that. Why are you talking about brand as a demand gen person when normally you should be talking all about performance and metrics and funnel and all those sorts of things? How are you this unicorn that's in demand generation and actually mentioning the word brand in the same breath?
So what's really funny is in my time at Final Site in particular, my time in content and brand development is actually what kind of catapulted me into the demand gen role. It was like, she kind of knows what she's doing. She's creating these weird videos and posting these blogs and hosting these events, and it's driving 80% of the company's revenue. She's on to something. And I really feel like, that was around 2018, 2019. I don't remember. That was really on the cusp of when demand gen was becoming a thing, right? I feel like it was the next buzz word, buzz title. Now the new one's go-to-market engineer. But going back 6 or 7 years, it was all about demand gen. And I have taken that mindset with me to every role, to the point that actually in my tenure at Niche, I met with our brand strategy team and we called the meetings our brand gen meetings, because there wasn't a single touch point in the demand gen funnel that didn't have an element of brand, and there wasn't a single element of brand that wasn't tied to how is what we are going to say and do and look like actually drive revenue. And I think it's a massive mistake if companies aren't thinking about it that way. So if you silo demand or you don't have brand, something is going to fall off, right? So typically in demand gen, you really have this model of taking up mental availability. You want people to change a point of view. You want to challenge their way of thinking. You want to make them have this absolute need for your product without necessarily knowing that it's your product or your brand, right? You want to be like the voice and the point of view in the industry. And I think that's much more brand marketing and content marketing and creativity and aesthetic than it really is like managing ads. Like when I hire people, I do not hire them because they have worked in HubSpot. I do not hire them because they know how to manage LinkedIn ads. I hire them because they have grit, personality, and have really good ideas.
That's
I can
awesome.
teach the rest.
That's
But
awesome.
to come back to your question of what has the pivot been like, I think work-wise, it doesn't feel that different. Even, you know, and I'm pausing, so hopefully you edit this out. Like the jump doesn't feel that different. But the thing that feels really different for me is this is all my responsibility. So I was overseeing a team of, I think, up to 8 people at one point at Niche. And while they reported to me, I had a VP and there was a CMO and there was a CRO. And you had this whole chain of command and this whole line of people where if something went awry, you kind of had the team to hold you up and to lean on and ask questions to and to defend you. At a startup, when you are the VP and there is no CMO and there is no big team and you're reporting directly up to the C-suite, any mistake, any decision, anything you do is all yours.
Yeah.
And that has been, I think, like the biggest change for me, both positively and negatively. Like I think I'm going to every meeting and asking for permission, and I don't need to be. You know, I think there's that little bit of imposter syndrome that's going to sit with me probably for the next 6 months.
I wouldn't doubt it. You know, I love that you're talking about brand from a demand generation standpoint, and this is something that we preach here. I believe that the tech brands really tend to focus on the bottom of the funnel and hoping to get a sale from a single ad, right? And how did that ad perform? What a challenging position to be in. And I liken it to, and I've said this many times, I don't think you can make a withdrawal from your brand ATM until you've made a deposit, right? And, you know, here at Theory, we really work on the concept of brand response, that we believe that literally any communication can be a direct response communication, and we can ask for something, but let's at least do something to give a brand impression, to seed our positioning, to leave somebody in a great space, right?
100%. Do you remember, I feel like back in the day, like early social media marketing, there was like the 3-2-1 rule. Do you remember this? Because it's very similar.
It sounds familiar, but
I don't know.
Remind me.
It was this. I feel like when I'm thinking of early days social media marketing, I remember like hosting webinars on this concept of the 3-2-1 rule, which was if you want to be able to say one thing about yourself or make one ask, you have to do 3 things that are helpful and have 2 other interactions. So in terms of a brand playbook, you have to go and post 3 pieces of content or have 3 helpful LinkedIn posts. And in addition to that, have 2 interactions, leave a comment, repost something, respond if you want to say one thing. And I think because, especially in ed tech, we're all owned by these private equity investors. There's so much focus on the bottom line that we've forgotten the 3 and the 2, and it's just like one.
Exactly. Yes.
They just want to go into the ATM with a crowbar, and like break it open, and you know, just do a withdrawal. And it's not; those are the brands that you're going to see like crash and burn because they haven't they haven't planted seeds to grow their laurels.
Well, you know? And they're also the brands that as soon as they turn off their performance marketing, the brand's dead because nobody's searching. There's no organic. There's no nothing, right? And that's what we're rallying against. Well, hey, let me switch gears a little bit with you. So in higher ed marketing, budgets are scrutinized down to the penny. How do you prove ROI in a way that convinces all of your skeptics?
I think that if I had the perfect answer to that question, I'd be rich, but I don't. So in higher ed marketing, I think the biggest thing to know about ed tech in general, and I know most industries buy this way, but I think ed tech in particular, The industry has been called a sleepy industry. It is known to be an industry of late adopters. And no one wants to be the first person to do something. No one wanted to be the first person to use agentic counselors to work with students. No one wanted to be the first college to do direct admissions. No one wanted to be the first college to do video, like video messaging. No one wanted to be the first person to do it. And so it takes a lot of convincing to get your first 2, 3, 4 pilot institutions doing the cool new thing. And that's really the ROI strategy. You have to put 110%. You are making a huge bet on these 4 or 5 institutions that it's going to work. And from there, you build case studies. They are your influencers. They're on your webinars. They're speaking with you at events. And I think it's also a strategic play, right? Because you want, in almost one case, you don't want the Harvards, because not every college sees themselves like a Harvard.
Sure.
And on the other end, you want the colleges and the people that the majority can relate to, kind of like almost in B2C marketing, right? Like that's why we're seeing like influencers that aren't Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian performing much better, because it's believable. So there's a lot of investment in a way, influencer marketing in higher ed. That's the only way you're gonna be able to prove ROI. Now, something that's really interesting about higher ed specifically, they love attribution, almost in a way that as marketers, it is like, it's tough. And they're really so focused on first source leads and how those first source leads enroll at the bottom of the funnel. So every single higher ed enrollment marketing agency, every single enrollment marketing SaaS company, ed tech company, AI, what have you, is all talking about the efficiency of the funnel and the influence on conversions. And I think it's our job as higher ed marketers to have our unique point of view on how we do that. And otherwise, they all sound the same. I think you could really take any higher ed value proposition and everyone is saying, reach and convert more students. And you really need to say how you do it differently, how it's going to save them time, and give real world examples with data. Otherwise, they're just not going to do it because it's not going to be believable. And I just think higher ed, you have to be really careful with how you do it. I don't know. I also think it's like an industry that is so academic and cares deeply. That they're gonna sniff out that your 22-year-old BDR is giving them a phone call saying that you're gonna fix their enrollment woes. Like, no, this person who has sat in the enrollment marketing seat for 20, 30 years at an institution does not believe that the BDR fresh out of college can solve your enrollment woes. So this is like a very real data first, people first marketing model.
Okay. Well, you've led go-to-market strategies for brand new products like direct admissions. What's your playbook for launching something the market hasn't seen before?
That is a great question. So you want a true story? I did not have a playbook when we launched direct admissions. I had been at the company for just a couple of months. And I think I wrote my playbook as I was there. So if I'm going to go back in like the time machine and think through kind of what I did haphazardly, and I share it this way because I think there's a lot of marketers out there that would sit in this seat and be like, here's my playbook. First I do this. And it's like, no, we've all gone through the instance where no one was telling us what to do. No one was telling us how to do it. And we just had to figure it out and like hope it worked, right? That was very much direct admissions for me. So for me, the first part of the playbook for me is a lot of keyword research and market research. Understanding what people are saying about this product that we're bringing to market, if they know about this product we're bringing to market, what they're saying about it. That is like step number one. If you want to know something really interesting, when we first launched direct admissions, do you want to know what the monthly search volume was for that word?
250.
5.
Oh, wow.
It was
that didn't even exist. That category didn't even exist. Yeah.
The category didn't even exist. This was a category creation moment. And I remember sitting there in a room and being like, wait, I have to market a product that no one even is looking for? Like, no one wants this? So then the playbook becomes, I don't have competition. I'm a category creator. That means I have to make people realize they have a problem that
now you're going up the funnel, right? Now you got to swim upstream. Yeah.
You have to swim entirely. And so So for me, first thing, market research.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, a lot of that's keyword, understanding the market, looking at competitors. The second stage of that for us, because we did have a few pilot customers, was talking to our customers and understanding what they liked about the product, the successes they were having, what they were hoping it could do.
Mm-hmm.
Between those two things, my marketing became an entire convince everybody that they are doing the wrong thing by not using direct admissions. I want everybody to see these ads and read these emails and come to these webinars and be like, oh my God, I am doing something very antiquated and almost ethically wrong by not using direct admission. So in the early days, we A/B tested the student experience for direct admissions versus the ROI impact on the university. So one side, it was this very empathy-driven campaign of students who never thought that they would get into college are now getting into college because of our product. You can change the world with this.
Yeah, seriously.
And on the other side of it, it was you can reach the right students that you want to enroll and have a bottom line impact on your institution. Mm-hmm. You're a storyteller, Russell, so I'm curious, which one of those do you think performed better?
The latter.
It was the student perspective.
Really?
Which was very interesting to me because it was the riskier campaign. Yeah, you're obviously saying the latter because in tech, that's usually the thing that wins, but it wasn't. Yeah. And that's what made marketing it so fun.
Well, that's also, that's also the genius of actually doing just a moment of research, right, before you launch. It's funny, so many brands are ready, shoot, aim, right, versus ready, aim, shoot. And that's a perfect example of what you just shared. Hey, let me move on. You've scaled teams from lean, scrappy crews to multidisciplinary functions. How do you decide the right mix of demand gen, brand, product, and operations?
So I think you have to build out so as you're building a team, you have to take a look at yourself and say, what are my core skills and what am I good at? And where do I need to fill in the gap? So for me, my background has always very much been copy and demand. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm looking to fill roles, I think a lot of brands make this mistake. They immediately want to hire the demand gen person because they're like a bottom line marketer. They're just like, we got to get some ads up. We got to get some inbound leads. Mm-hmm. But where it's going to fall apart is in the sales deck. Where it's going to fall apart is product development. Where it's going to fall apart is client retention because you don't have the product marketer in place to be listening, developing messaging. Mm-hmm. I learned that very early. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I'm building out a team, the first and most important hire that I think any team can make, whether or not you as a VP have demand gen experience, is your product marketer. You need a good ass storyteller. You need someone who can listen. You need someone who can turn what they're hearing into compelling words that your demand gen team can use, that your sales team can use, that your client marketing team can use, that your existing business team can use, and your CEO. Sure, you might hit the unicorn demand gen candidate who can write the ads and is really cool and creative and fun. I had a hire like that when I was back at Final Site and it was great, right? Like you get those unicorns, but those are hard to find. Sure. So you need product marketing first. Once you have product marketing, that should feed into everything else. Mm-hmm. I am a very scrappy person, as you can see from my resume and what I've done. I do like to hire ops really early because I think that as you build, processes need to be repeatable. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have ops in place, good rev ops or good marketing ops, you are not going to make your processes repeatable quickly. Right. You're not going to analyze what's working. Mm-hmm. So it's product marketing and ops. I don't want to say something contradictory. I kind of feel like demand gen, I'm just going to say it here and now. I think it's a dying title and like a dying breed.
I hope so.
You hope so? Because I think that the product marketing bit and the ops bit is the most important that you have on a team. And then you can use an agency to run your ads. You can use an agency to be creative. You can use an agency who specializes in brand to make you a badass brand. Internally, you need the strategy, the point of view, and the feedback loops, and the operations. And that's really going to come from product and ops. And if you can build more, if you have the budget and the bandwidth to build more, great. But I think those are the two most important critical hires that every team can make.
I love it. Great answer. From Final Site to Capture, you've lived the evolution of ed tech marketing. How's the category changed most in the last 10 years?
outside of the Trump administration.
Sure. Sure.
I hate to give a probably very typical response, but obviously AI, right? I mean, and we're talking like this is an industry that again doesn't like change. I remember when I was at Final Site and WCAG 2.0 came out and it became federally illegal to have an inaccessible website. And I will say at Final Site, we took the high road. We did not fearmonger. We just wanted to educate. We were like, if you do not make your websites accessible, you could get a crime. Here's how to make it accessible on your own. However, of course, we're here to help if you need to do it. But, you know, we were really trying to educate. So many districts we spoke to at the time, this is probably 2009. I'd have to look up exactly when the WCAG guidelines were. Or no, not 2009. 2015. They were like, we'll take the risk. We don't care. We don't want to change. We don't want to update our website. We don't want the work. I think that AI, for the first time, is the first type of tech that is making ed tech move. It's like the social media marketing of 2020s, right? It's like the first thing that everyone's like, they were slow to adopt, but now they're like, oh shit, it's not going anywhere. There's been a move in the industry, but AI is like the one that I really feel. You know, everyone's like, presidents at universities are like, here's $20,000 to go do something with AI. Like those are the instructions they're getting. So I think that's really it. Like outside of all of the other, I would say, socioeconomical, political headwinds and things that are happening that are obviously changing the industry, AI is causing everybody to speed up, and I think in a really good way.
You know, that reminds me of when we were getting the internet off the ground. I had started with some friends, who ended up becoming the largest independently owned interactive agency in the United States. And I had this kind of story where I believe there was this mythical CEO club where all the CEOs went and passed out their business cards. And some CEOs had this thing called a .com on it. Nobody really knew what that was. But all the other CEOs came back to their marketing teams going, we don't have a .com on our business cards. I'm not sure what it is, but please go make it because I can't be considered a progressive CEO unless we have a .com. Whatever that is, take whatever budget you need and please make one so I can have that on my business card. And it feels like AI is in that same space where it's like it's funny, every client, even clients we've worked with in the past, we're seeing them now evolve their positioning, even evolve their URL to .ai. When they weren't thinking of AI at all 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, but now they're all of a sudden a .ai on their URL, right? And prominent messaging, the agentic AI or this AI, that AI, everything's AI. And it's like we're AI washing every business model right now for valuation.
Well, I'm so glad you said that because it is actually driving me bonkers. And what's funny is at Capture, we've literally been using AI since 2011, but it was like icky. It was like, oh, don't say you're using AI. That's
was that
scary.
machine learning? Was that machine learning?
It was machine learning. It was like early AI, right? But we were using AI, but you didn't want to talk about it because people felt it was icky. And now everyone's doing it. And so like some of our messaging and marketing is like, we're not jumping on the AI bandwagon. We built it. So like gather round. Like we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And so we're not changing any of our stuff to AI because we've been doing it and everyone knows we've been doing it.
That's nice. Built from the ground up.
Yeah, it was built. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the AI washing is, there's just something popping up every day.
Yeah. A shakeout's coming. The best brand.
I hope so. I mean, I feel
like
I
will survive.
I was a late adopter. I didn't want to. I wanted to write with my brain in my hands. I didn't want to rely on something else.
So, hey, at Niche, you were spending around, $2 million. What's your philosophy on spend allocation? Test widely and double down, or focus and go deep?
Test widely and double down.
I was running the Xbox business, and we had it was a $250 million a year budget. And I've said this in previous podcasts that we had a budget philosophy of 60-30-10, which was 60% of your spend should go on bread and butter, the things that deliver sales year in, year out. Always delivers, you need the bread and butter. 10% is pure exploratory budget. to be in, first mover in new places, to get somewhere before our competition does, to test new things, to see what works and what doesn't. And then 30% doubles down on last year's successful 10%. So literally, if we find we hit a new space with our exploratory budget and it's looking great, then let's go all in and let's own that space, right? So it was always about finding new avenues to get to our audience, new touch points, and not being scared and kind of hunkering down, because I notice that a lot of brands, they almost optimize themselves out of new opportunities, right? They keep fishing the same fishing hole and keep optimizing themselves away from any volume or anything that gives them any kind of brand expansion or learning. Now we use this action word in our headline and we got a 0.05% lift, right? And now we're not saying click here, we're saying do this, right? It's like those sort of little experiments for little modest hits. Don't give the big wins that you can get by being somewhere first, right? And being a first mover.
Yeah, and being creative, I think that's where it goes back to the first question you asked, is like, what's been the difference from demand gen to VP? It's like, it's not that different, because I think every marketer out there should be thinking about every single component and how they all work together.
Yes.
To, like, you can't just test the creative, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be thinking about the whole picture. Like, what's the big bet we want to make? What's the crazy thing we want to do? What's the thing we want to try? What's interesting is like one tiny test can almost like become your entire brand. Mm-hmm. When I was at Final Site, we hosted these webinars, which I feel like this word is very tired now, but we did website throwdowns, and people would submit their websites and myself and the CEO would critique them. Mm-hmm. That turned into the website report card, which was our lead gen offer besides a demo. That turned into a website consultation. That turned into something for clients, and we became basically the website consultation experts of the industry. And it just stemmed from like one really risky thing where we were asking, we want our clients who are in ed tech to submit their website so myself and the CEO can rip them apart live in front of hundreds of people.
I love it.
And that became the entire strategy.
That's what a good brand does. It takes risks, right? And everybody has to stop being scared and to start being a brand again, and taking those kind of risks.
I totally agree.
So kudos for you for doing that. So many marketers totally obsess over leads, right? And that's nothing new. You've emphasized pipeline. How do you coach teams to make that mental shift from quantity to quality?
So it's really hard. I think it's really hard for multiple reasons. And I think this was probably every marketer that you've spoken to, the bane of our existence. So everyone is like, we need this many MQAs, or we need this many demos. And it causes everyone to chase the top number instead of the bottom number. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I obsess over, is the bottom number. I don't care if we got 200 MQAs that resulted in $200,000 or 2 MQAs that resulted in $200,000. I want the right quality in the funnel. The reason this is really difficult is you need alignment, not only with your sales team, but with leadership. Yes. And if you are at an ed tech company that is backed by private equity, they have all sorts of numbers that they want you to meet. They want you to get 500 demos a month, because in their mind, the 500 demos equates to $500,000 in revenue.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. I don't want to play it. I am very lucky. I'm really close with our VP of sales at Capture. And I think that I have like a little bit of a unicorn here, where the marketing demo goals and the SDR demo goals are one. So we are solely responsible for top of the funnel, which is created by conversion rate and revenue goal, which I think is like, I think the dream that every company kind of wants is like, if we need to make $1 million and our close rate is 20%, how many demos does that need? I like to take it one step further and look at pipeline sources and try to understand the different inputs that are converting, the different institutions in our ICP that are converting. But I feel like the hardest part is getting leadership aligned. Yeah. Well, we're all chasing the same bottom line. And I just think that if you don't have two people who are thinking that way, the whole thing implodes. Yeah. I've been in roles where those people are not on the same page, and it is very stressful, because you spend 40 hours a week trying to tell people that it's really hard for marketing to get MQAs when the SDRs are calling them before they're an MQA.
Wait, hold on. Are you working half-time? 40 hours a week? Is that, I thought you were full-time. my notes here.
The other 40 hours is spent taking care of my 2 kids, my dog, my husband, all of
I get
that.
it. I get
Working on life.
it. So, you've had success with both inbound, like content and SEO, and outbound, your ABM and events. What's the future balance of those in B2B?
I think you need to be really smart. So I think SEO, content, advertising is all very much brand. You want people to know who you are when they think of, so capture, we do intent signals and we have collaborative AI. When we think of intent signals, I want people to think of capture. And so that means we're producing content about intent signals. We're an expert. We have thought leaders at our company. That's the brand component. And then I think what's funny is a lot of people think events are brand. Events are 100% demand, if you ask me. You are at a conference to create pipeline. You are not there to hand out pens and chapstick. You are there.
I just got some chapstick at my last event. It sits in my car. I couldn't even tell you who gave it to me.
Exactly. That's my point. So I think brand should own inbound channels, and demand, or whatever you want to call it, should work with SDRs and own the outbound channels. And I think they are both important, but one cannot exist without the other. Because if you have SDRs calling people, or you have AEs calling people being like, hey, did you know we exist? And they Google you and they can't find you, or your website is lackluster, or whatever it may be, you can't have one without the other. It has to be 50-50. And if there's any company out there saying, I'm just hiring my demand gen person to run ads, I would encourage that demand gen manager to run. Because it's going to be a numbers game, and when you don't hit them, they're going to axe you, and it's not what any marketer went to school for at all.
I got you. Okay, last big question before we get to the exciting lightning round. Okay, you ready? So looking ahead, what's one marketing hill you will die on? Something you'll keep fighting for, even if the boardroom disagrees?
Attribution. I know we talked about this in a previous conversation, Russell. I think a lot of marketing teams waste a lot of creative energies and a lot of time. I'm trying to figure out what led to that revenue. And it's just like, in ed tech in particular, now granted, I'm a B2C purchaser. Have I seen an Instagram ad and clicked the ad, purchased the thing all in one fell swoop? Of course. Because it was a dress for my daughter with the Disney princesses dressed up in Halloween costumes. I didn't need to think that decision over for days, months. I didn't have to get approval, right? But what happens in B2B, and you know this from working in tech, is I saw the ad on LinkedIn, I didn't click it. Then I went to a networking thing and I heard someone talk about the brand, so I wrote it down. I might have went to organic search and Googled it, looked at their website and left. Then I start seeing their retargeting ads. Then I visit their website more. And then an SDR picks up the phone and calls the person, and the SDR gets credit. When the entire journey was 100% marketing owned. And you're just going to waste time trying to figure out what the touch point was that converted. I try to do much more attribution by campaign effort. So like, how did events contribute to the funnel versus advertising at a scale? But if you try to look at anything in a silo, you're doing it wrong. And I will
have you heard of the Google ZMOT, the zero moment of truth?
No.
Came out about maybe 8 or 9 years ago, where Google was showing what is the actual sales process and how many points of information does a prospect look at before actually making a buy decision. And they showed that, we've always, for eons, used the funnel, like it's a linear funnel top to bottom. It only goes one way. And it turns out people go down the funnel, they go up the funnel, they go out of the funnel, they come back in at different points, and they literally go all over the place. And it was anywhere between 12 and 18 points of information that folks will access before actually making a buy decision. So trying to have that linear sort of attribution process is just absolute fail. All right, now we're going to the lightning round questions. I know this is what you've been waiting for and everybody's been waiting for with bated breath. So we're going to jump right in. Lightning round, first thing that comes to your mind, don't overthink it. More stressful, presenting a board deck or filming a wedding where the bride's uncle won't get out of the shot?
Filming a wedding.
Okay.
Hands down. No contest.
If higher ed marketing were a movie genre, is it drama, a rom-com, or a survival thriller?
Survival thriller. At one point, I said that ed tech marketing was my villain origin story. So
Excellent. I love it. You co-owned a tanning salon called Wicked Tan. Great name, by the way, for Massachusetts. Be honest. What's the most 2000s marketing stunt you pulled?
marketing on MySpace.
Oh my God. You were one of those people? You were a MySpacer?
MySpacer. And then from there, it evolved to creating my mama Facebook, first name Wicked, last name Tan. And I created our website in Dreamweaver.
Wow, that's dating
Lots
yourself.
of 2000
I
stuff.
can edit, if you want, I can edit that out. Coffee, energy drinks, or pure adrenaline? What's your campaign fuel?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Specifically an iced latte.
What's your brand? You
I
a
just
Star-
went to a local coffee shop in town.
Okay, okay. Which is harder to optimize, SEO keywords or fantasy football lineups?
Fantasy football lineups.
Fair enough. If your marketing career had a tagline, what would it be?
Oh gosh, I should have thought about this one more in advance. Scrappy, spicy, and a little bit silly.
Okay. I was going to think like takes a licking and keeps on ticking. What was that?
Yeah,
What was
that's a
that?
good one,
Time-
too.
I think it was that Timex? I think that was Timex. The power of a good tagline, right? Okay, what's one buzzword you'd banish forever from B2B marketing decks?
Supercharged.
I've supercharged. Okay.
Supercharged. That's always, you haven't seen that? Supercharge your funnel. It's like, but it's
Oh,
just say what you mean.
yeah. Dream marketing collaboration. Capture higher ed with what unexpected brand? And you can't say Apple.
I don't know. Our logo is a magnet. Is there like a cool magnet company out there?
Can't think of one. So something with something that partners with a magnet, like metal.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
like
maybe.
Alcoa. I don't know if aluminum is magnetic, but
Yeah, not tinfoil. We wouldn't want to do it with Reynolds wrap.
no.
Um,
No.
I don't
No.
know. Or I just think like a sneaker company could be cool. I don't
Okay.
know.
That's a
That's
dream
a
collab.
tough
That's fine.
one. That's a tough one.
So, what's more satisfying, seeing a campaign crush pipeline goals or nailing the perfect playlist for a road trip?
Definitely pipeline goals.
Really?
There is no Russell. I have kids. There is no perfect playlist for a road
That's
trip.
true. How long can you hear Baby Shark for? If you could assign one mascot to represent demand gen marketers, what would it be? A honey badger, a golden retriever, or a caffeinated squirrel?
I don't even know what a honey badger looks like. So I'm gonna go with caffeinated squirrel because we're always just like running around frantic, trying
Yep.
to get everything done, squirreling away things for the future. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, you've scored, by my calculation, at least 26 points on the lightning round question. So
I
congratulations.
appreciate it.
Mia, this has been wonderful. I've enjoyed our time with you, and I'm sure our listeners will as well. I've learned a lot in you sharing your wisdom and knowledge. So thank you so much for joining Marketing Mischief and Mayhem. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you. I did.